So at the age of 20, I became a second lieutenant. I'm a former artillery officer, and I was also involved. I fought a war in 1971 against Pakistan. I do understand what American soldiers are going now in Pakistan. They are fighting Taliban in Pakistan now.
Explain to me, what do you understand about that? Because there's some people out there may not.
Well, actually, let me tell you, when I was in the military, 1/3 of the Pakistani military was Taliban. And they had created Taliban to keep needling India in Kashmir.
Okay.
So we knew when we were fighting Pakistan that the 1/3 of the military is Taliban. They are very dedicated. They have a great culture of fighting. They are indoctrinated. So this fight that we are trying to fight and trying to defeat Taliban is going to be a long fight.
Wow.
So my thing is this, that there are other countries who are involved in, who are affected by terrorism.
That's correct.
They are like Israel, India, Indonesia, United States of America. I think what we need to do is to have a force, military force from all those countries come together, commanded by generals in rotation from different countries. And let's fight this fight together.
I agree with
that. Not individually.
No, not individually, because it's not a one-man show. It's a team effort.
It's going to be a long fight. It's going to take years.
Well, let me ask you this. You know, Political Brothers monitoring and Vic monitoring the chat room. Political Brother, what do you feel about what Mr. Singh has stated?
Well, I think that's part. The whole issue of this has to do with the Pakistan's, first of all, it has to do with who you view as the enemy, okay, and where you find. There's no question that the Taliban is entrenched in certain regions, but there's also the political repercussions. Pakistan and India, fairly long-time enemies. In fact, that's one of your nuclear hot points, okay? And so part of the politics that goes into this has to do with Pakistan's trying to get American foreign aid dollars in. They're agreeing to U.S. use of their airspace, 7,000 drones. Many people in Pakistan hold that against the government for allowing that kind of incursion into their country. You have to understand. So there's a big problem with this.
Is that you have export and import issues, and I know with the way I've been on the show. Forgive me, Mr. Singh. I've kind of mocked Indian people because our country has allowed a lot of our export services to go to India. India is flourishing off of America, and we don't want to do the hard labor jobs. We seem to export a lot of jobs and not have them in America. So I that's part of the issues I have with what's going on and how America has their relationship with India and with the job trade.
Well, I'm a little different in that. See, it has to do with whether or not we're actually going to embrace a world economy or not. People really today are kind of in between. You see that even when they relate to BP, which they're calling a British
but are we going to save the world, build a world, or build America?
Well, remember, your leadership is talking about a new world order. See, so it's
not our leadership. This is the government.
Well, that was George Bush.
Well, still, but it's government as a whole. That's not just George Bush.
So how you look at to me, it has to do with how you view who is the us versus and who is the them. And this, I even said this about Honda. Honda makes more cars in America than they do in Japan. Are they us? Are they an American company? Are they a Japanese company? What are they?
The reason the jobs get exported to countries like India and Pakistan and Bangladesh or wherever, because the businesses who are in America, they are taxed so much that they find it profitable to take those jobs to those countries and able to produce a product cheaper and then bring it back here. So,
but isn't it that Americans are spoiled? Because I have issues with that. If we continue to have this kind of cycle, it's not helping us grow the economy. We're growing somebody else's economy, and we're like children receiving the toys. Well, we should be the builders of those toys.
I fully agree with you. We have lost the manufacturing sector completely.
Yes, totally.
But Mr. Singh,
we have to bring those jobs back.
But we have not just jobs, we have to create the jobs.
Singh,
like you said, from private entities.
The way we can create those jobs is we have to tell those businesses that there is an incentive.
Right, the tax incentive or something to come back.
And
so what would be your proposed idea for those incentives? What would you, because you're a business owner.
I tell you something. I think the taxes should be lowered to bare minimum.
Really?
Absolutely.
Why?
I tell you something. When businesses have money, we start hating big business. But big businesses create jobs. We hate big business. But big businesses, if their taxes are lower, they'll have more money. They will invest more in this country, and more jobs will be created. It is the businesses that create the jobs.
That's true.
And when
That's true.
when businesses can create jobs, then people in this country will have jobs.
A political brother, what do you think about that? What's the chat room saying? Anything
Well,
out there?
that's part of the issue. When if you can reduce taxes, but you can't reduce taxes and fight 3 wars. You can't reduce taxes and fight a war against North Korea, which you're standing poised to. You deal with a Middle East war, a war in Afghanistan. How are you going to do all that and reduce? That's the issue, because it's how we spend our money. But Mr. Singh, I got to ask you one other thing. We hear over and over again that American workers are not as good workers too, Mr. Singh. We do hear that.
We're
and that
lazy
workers
and not passionate.
in India and back in Pakistan, they work harder, do a better job. These are the things that we hear. We heard that.
We know it's not true, though.
Well, supposedly the automakers,
No, we kick butt
they didn't
in
want
America. It's
to.
just
They
that
didn't
they
want to
wanna
open
give
an
them-
auto plant because they said they couldn't find good
Well, I
workers
think,
in
like you
America.
said, it's low cost, though. It's a cost
work in
issue.
auto plants.
It's cheaper to build it out of the country than in the country.
Well, are those workers better
Doesn't mean
workers?
that-
Workers are
no,
very hardworking
I think
people.
we're hardworking
The
people.
only thing is, the workers in India, Pakistan, and other countries, they can do the same job for less money.
That's correct.
Now, in this country, the government has set a minimum wage. Now, just look at the minimum wage. Why should government be in the business of fixing minimum wage? I think the businesses and the worker should be able to meet each other and decide what the wage should be. When you start having the minimum wage set by the government, state government and the federal government, that means businesses cannot afford to pay that kind of money. But there are people who will be willing to work for less. And our own people, our own children who graduate from universities, they'll be able to get the jobs. And those jobs will not go to the other countries. So to keep the jobs here, I think it's time to just relax the minimum wage standards. You will have more jobs. It's better to have people make less money as far as the wages are concerned, rather than to give them unemployment benefits.
Now, the challenge people might have with that is the cost of living. Because even if they're making less money, the cost of living, how do you offset that?
Well, the cost of living, I tell you something. Cost of living is decided by the individuals. This is the most beautiful country in the world. If you live in a small apartment, you have the same facilities, basic facilities that you have in the mansions. So, okay, the space is less, but the basic facilities are there, So everybody has to, when I came to this country, I rented an apartment for $160 in Queens, New York. I'm not living in the same apartment now. I have moved up. My initial job paid me very little. Actually, I never got a salary. I always worked on a commission. But look, I have been able to create jobs. I have been able to open 14 restaurants over a period of 35 years. I'm building a hotel in Beverly Hills now.
That's incredible.
So, you have to move up. You cannot just say you come to this country and you can have a job that pays you $10 an hour or $20 an hour or $30 an hour. No, it's not going to happen. In this country, even today, if you want a job, you can get a job. It may not be the job that you would like to do, but you can always get a job. This is the only country in the world where you can get a job.
Wow.
He represents, Mr. Singh to me, and this is coming from your radical leftist person here.
Okay.
You can obviously see how Mr. Singh represents an immigrant attitude that's kind of been lost here in America, that would serve all of us. Even though we may differ with him on some political elements, the point is, look what he's talking about. He's really talking about self-help.
That's true.
Because even if you want government to help you, it ain't coming.
No. And
so you
especially
need
now.
to help yourself.
That's right.
And so his attitude is so
God help
refreshing.
those who help themselves, family.
Unseemingly,
Come on now.
for individuals,
Come on now.
to expect the government to help you
That's right.
in your individual needs.
And why do people?
Listen to this,
But why
listen.
do they think that way? Because we're under a president that wants